And welcome to Studio 5. This is a blockbuster edition as we take a look at 3 films out just in time for the holidays. We're going to sit down with George Clooney, who's going to take us inside his film, The Boys in the Boat. It is the true story of the University of Washington rowing team who goes from rags all the way to Olympic gold. Then we're going inside Illumination Studios' latest animated film. It's called Migration. It's about a family of birds who face their fear on a journey from New England all the way to Jamaica. And then we have a classic to take a look at. We're taking a look at the latest chapter of The Color Purple. We're going to get to all of those in just a bit, but first, let's begin as we do every week, counting down the top 5 stories in the world of uplifting entertainment. Here are the first 2. At number 5.
Welcome to the announcement of the 81st Annual Golden Globe Award nominations.
The 81st Annual Golden Globe nominations are in.
Well, we just heard nominees for the acting categories. Fantasia Barrino-Taylor did make the list.
Oh, Miss Celie, you look good.
And the Color Purple musical adaptation earned acting nominations for Fantasia Barrino and Danielle Brooks.
You must ain't got no kinfolk around these parts.
All I had was my sister. She was the only one ever loved me.
I was about to allow fear to keep me from stepping into such a role that needed to be played by me because of the things that I had to go through in life and the heart, my heart that I have. That's Celie.
At number 4. Skillet frontman John Cooper spreads a message of truth in his lyrics and now in the pages of his newest book.
People have been losing their minds from the book title alone, which I gotta be honest, I'm really surprised about it. I start the book by telling people about my own wimpiness. So I'm not just saying, oh, you people are wimpy and weak. Being wimpy and weak is an ideology, it's a way of thinking. And here's what I mean. We are wimpy because the church has decided, it seems to me, the message I'm hearing is it's more important to be polite than to tell the truth. That's what's wimpy.
And that is a great start to this week's countdown. We've got your next 3 stories coming up throughout the rest of the show. We now turn to George Clooney. We traveled to Los Angeles this week to sit down with the director of Boys in the Boat. It's a film based on the true story of the 1936 University of Washington rowing team who rises from rags all the way to Olympic gold.
Stay with him until he finishes the first line, and when Joel starts to talk, then you can make the move.
It's a boat full of underdogs representing an underdog nation.
In 3, 2, 1, roll!
George, what is it about this story that drew you into it?
I loved it. I loved, of course, there's the underdog story and everything else. I loved the era of the Great Depression. It was a pretty fascinating time. I've always liked that sort of image. I think that it expresses sort of the best of us in mankind, which is how we find a way to take care of one another.
Where do you think these young men's drive comes from?
Necessity, right? That's the great motivator.
Well, what's that about, making some money?
Yeah, the rowing team. You're on it, you get a part-time job included, cheap place to live. All you gotta do is make the team.
They rowed, they were lumberjacks. They rowed to eat, literally, to get food and to pay for school. So they went to study engineering and things like that. And they all went on to do sort of remarkable things.
I have to say, watching this, especially the scenes with them rowing, I felt like it was poetry in motion, if you will. What was the drive and how important was it to get rowing right?
That was the hardest part. When you cast really good actors, and the script works, I'm not worried about getting that right. I'm worried about the technical parts of making rowing as exciting as it is. Rowing is actually a really exciting sport, but it's a little like F1. If you're not in close and feel it, it doesn't feel fast, and it doesn't have that same intensity.
How important was unity, Joel, as a theme in this film, if you will?
Look, it's incredibly, it's more potent in fact in rowing than in most other sports you can think of. Like synchronized swimming is another, like where a whole unit of individuals are all moving as one, essentially becoming one. And that really was helped by the training process of these guys. I think they did a remarkable job of getting where they needed to get to. And in the process of doing that, forged these relationships that then spill onto the screen in a really wonderful way. I was very impressed by what they did.
The average human body is just not meant for such things. Most of you will not be chosen.
What's your relationship, Callum, with rowing before this story?
I didn't have one.
No.
I'd heard about it. I'd seen some guys do it on the River Thames in London. But these guys, you know, George and Grant, they set us up to succeed.
The Depression hit everyone hard. No jobs, no food. We were broke.
You play Joe Rance. Describe his struggles for me.
You know, Joe is the ultimate underdog story. This is someone that has just put the walls up, you know, and doesn't let anyone in until he rekindles with Joyce, and she teaches him how to trust again. And that allows him to you know, feel like he's part of this team too.
You're announcing the team today. Are you going to make it?
As you mentioned, this is an underdog story, a sports story, and also a love story. Hadley, how would you describe the relationship between these two characters?
Oh man, I love the relationship. I think it's kind of one to look up to in a lot of ways. In real life, they stay together until death parted them. It's a really beautiful love story built on trust, which I think is a huge theme in this movie.
Hadley, I've heard you say that they don't make movies like this. What makes you say that anymore?
Man, it really leans into the beauty of humanity and really beautiful qualities and values that some people possess, and then to lean into it, and it gives you this feeling that it feels so good. I don't know why you don't see it much anymore.
We see what we're made of and see that we're actually on each other's sides. This film reminds us that we are all in this together.
As one! As one! It's an incredible film. As you heard, Poetry in Motion, The Boys in the Boat is in theaters for you Christmas Day. It's George Clooney's gift to us. Are you ready?
Ready for what?
Nothing. Just, you know, for our big, super fun family migration!
What?
Ha! Bet you didn't see that coming.
A family of ducks face fear in a daring migration. What theme struck you most?
Moving out of your comfort zone, learning that there's something beyond what you know.
You did it! I can't believe it! I was in a cage, and now I am not. In, and now not. And you did it! All of you! But you wild duck, you!
We're diving into the new animated film from Illumination Studios next. At number 3.
The last 2 days, there's no hot water and hardly ever any caviar.
I happen to hate caviar. And I hate people telling me what dreams I should and shouldn't have.
Big news for fans of the blockbuster epic Titanic.
Now that Titanic is newly available in 4K ultra high definition, this from the 1997 blockbuster's director, writer, and co-editor, James Cameron.
There are additional materials that you know are embedded. You know, more stuff behind the scenes, that sort of thing.
Reminiscing, Cameron says while pursuing Leonardo DiCaprio took some doing, at Kate Winslet's audition, her cold read in an office blew them away.
My crowd. I think they're giants. They're not even dust in God's eye.
At number 2.
I don't have to pretend like everything's okay.
A new single from Grammy-winning Rock Nation artist Victory Boyd and her sophomore project, Glory Hour. You have a new project?
Yes.
Out. But I want to say that this project is, at least for you, lyrically different. Tell me about it.
And I like how you said that, lyrically different, you know, because I've always made it my intention to express the Spirit of God through music, but because my career has mostly been in the secular space, I've had to read the room, you know, and understand what kind of triggers my religion might present for a particular room. But at the same time, every soul needs love. Every soul needs hope. Every soul needs joy. And Jesus provides all of those.
Let the choir sing on earth. Let your will be done on earth.
With this album, this is my first album where I'm explicitly declaring the gospel of Jesus Christ.
We need you on our side. El Shaddai.
And with that, we've got just one more story to share in this week's countdown. We'll get to it in just a little bit. Welcome back to Studio 5. We turn now to an animated film from Illumination Entertainment. It's a film called Migration. It's about a family of ducks who are on a journey from New England to Jamaica. It's a family who feels the fear and does the daring anyway. It's got the likes of Danny DeVito, Awkwafina, Keegan-Michael Key, and so many more giving voice to these ducks. Take a look. Here we go.
Gosh, this is it, guys.
That is so good.
Hear that? Hear that?
Come on, we gotta get ready.
Mac, ready for what?
Nothing. Just, for our big, super fun family migration.
What?
How did you come to this story?
The thing is that the pitch of a project, like talking about this little family of ducks that had this sort of like this wife and husband that are like bickering about like how life should be lived. Like the fact that the father wants to stay in his comfort zone, in his little routine, and the wife is more like about like challenging life and everything, and how do we teach our kids about that? I loved that idea.
I don't want to miss out on life because you're afraid to leave this pond.
How did you dive in and rise to this challenge?
It was tricky, of course, but then again, like in the movie, like it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a lot of tears and sweat and everything. But that's how you evolve.
They must be migrating. We're going to Jamaica. I really want to see that.
I want to go to Jamaica. What they make jam.
And actually, the first time I felt like I watched it was when I watched it with an audience and finally heard people laughing to jokes that I thought were not funny anymore.
I'm kidding. Who am I?
All of a sudden you have kids like just bursting with laughter and everything, and parents laughing at gags and everything, and you're like, oh, we're doing something, like emotional.
Let's fly.
Hey!
Woo, yeah!
What do they do? Rip you apart, then eat you?
Also, I was surrounded by such a talented group of artists that they sort of like helped me. I didn't feel alone. It was really like this huge group like working together to make this happen and make it the best of what it can be. It was just an incredible team. Of course, I was very nervous working with them because they're like such great and talented actors. I'd never had the chance to work with such talented people. But the great thing is that we chose actors that sort of like matched also the characters. So Kumail kind of have his, when we met him, he told me, oh, that's me, no worries. And Elizabeth Banks was the same, like, yeah, that's me. Like I'm the one that sort of like have this sort of like peppiness.
Hi there, I'm Pam. I'm sharing my life with him, so I'm painfully aware of all the stupid things that come out of his mouth.
Oh yeah, that's true. She is.
Just stick close to me, and everything will be all right.
Keegan-Michael, you play Delroy. Awkwafina, you play Chump. Tell me, who are these characters?
He's a macaw, a red macaw, who's from Jamaica, and he lives in a cage in a celebrity chef's office.
You did it! I can't believe it! I was in a cage, and now I am not. In, and now not.
Wishes he was back home in the beautiful green lush hills of Jamaica, where he's from, and his only solace, the only friendship he has is with Chump.
And yes, Chump is a New York City pigeon.
Trying to get to Jamaica.
Yeah, that's in Queens, right?
More south.
What was it about this story that made you say, yes, this is something I want to do?
Well, I thought the script was really fun, and that I really liked the themes of the picture.
What theme struck you most?
moving out of your comfort zone, learning that there's something beyond what you know, and that's growth.
This isn't about migration. It's about adventure.
Whatever you're expecting over there, it's going to be even better.
I knew there was some adventure left in you.
Migration is in theaters December 22nd. It's a film for the entire family to enjoy. We need to take a quick break, but before we do, it's time for your Studio 5 Snapshot. Here's your look at a story in pictures this week.
These songs of freedom is all I ever have. Redemption songs.
A look ahead to a film coming in 2024. One Love will celebrate the life of music legend Bob Marley, who inspired generations with lyrics of love and unity. It's a real-life tale coming to the big screen for the very first time and promises to share his powerful journey of overcoming adversity and the birth of his revolutionary music. Images from the production are this week's Studio 5 Snapshot. Still to come.
Sunday morning.
A bold new take on a classic from 1985.
It's one thing to lend your name to it, but why did you feel that you were like, nope, I'm gonna roll up my sleeves and actually produce this and make sure this happens?
Our friend Devon Franklin takes Studio 5's questions to the cast and producer of The Color Purple.
There's no question that Alice Walker is the mother of it all from her writing in 1982, but I feel like I am the godmother of it.
At number 1.
It's a boat full of underdogs representing an underdog nation.
George Clooney directs the inspirational true story, The Boys in the Boat.
Stay with him until he finishes the first line, and when Joel starts to talk, then you can make the move.
8-man crew is the most difficult team sport in the world.
George, what is it about this story that drew you into it?
I loved it. Yeah, of course, there's the underdog story.
The Washington boat has taken the lead. Washington has done it!
An American rowing team rises from rags to Olympic gold at the 1936 Games in Berlin.
The Washington boat has taken the lead. Washington has done it!
I got 9 seconds under the course record. Olympic year this year.
Olympic year? I didn't realize.
Where do you think these young men's drive comes from? What were you trying to
Well, necessity, right? Mm-hmm. That's the great motivator. This is a sport of privilege, and these were not privileged young men. They were lumberjacks.
Well, what's that about making some money?
Yeah, the rowing team. You're on, you get a part-time job, included cheap place to live. All you gotta do is make the team.
And that is your number 1 story this week. Welcome back to Studio 5. We are now turning to a classic of literary proportions, Broadway and film. We're talking about The Color Purple. Oprah Winfrey got her start in acting in The Color Purple, directed by Steven Spielberg. Well, the two of them have teamed up to produce this latest take on the classic. It stars Fantasia, Taraji P. Henson, and Danielle Brooks. Take a look at The Color Purple.
There's nothing that's been more important or vital to me culturally, artistically, than The Color Purple. It is a solid base of spiritual and emotional power for me. It heals, it brings hope, it lifts people up, it brings joy, because it's an anointed piece of art, and it is blessed.
Life is not easy. If you don't have people that you can rely on when your legs are weak and you feel like you can't walk, when you don't have the words to say, somebody else can speak for you.
The fear for me was I was about to step on set with some amazing actors and actresses. And this was my first time playing in a big movie like this. But I was about to allow fear to keep me from stepping into such a role that needed to be played by me because of the things that I had to go through in life and the heart, my heart that I have. That's Celie. So I believe that people are gonna walk away healed, but everybody's gonna relate to something different.
Who that outside talking to Paul?
The devil.
He sure look nice for devil.
Mr. is the antagonist.
If Mr. was a real man today and all of what he did to Celie was blasted all over Instagram, he'd be canceled. But what a horrible ending for him, because then there's no time for him to redeem himself.
The filmmakers made sure he was human and he just wasn't a villain. And he can have redemption.
How can we judge people? Who are we to say one sin is worse than the other? You know, if Jesus can forgive, what makes you think you can't?
High time me and you was introduced. Tell him who he is, high folk.
Paul, Grampy, I want to introduce y'all to my girl. This here, Sophia.
And I feel like that's what I want people to take, is the hope that they can continue to keep going, faith, no matter what happens, you're gonna be all right.
You've got to stand up for yourself.
Her evolvement from being invisible to the world to be able to stand up and proclaim, I'm here, is the ultimate empowerment story.
God can dream a bigger dream for you than you could ever dream for yourself. That was the lesson I got from The Color Purple.
It's Sunday morning, so make a joyful noise.
It's another present for you. You can see The Color Purple in theaters only Christmas Day. And welcome back to Studio 5. As you know, music fuels this production every single week. And this week, it is the jazz man himself, Gregory Porter. Take a listen and you'll hear why the Christmas song is what's playing in my ear this week.
Help to make the season bright. And tiny tots with their eyes all aglow will find it hard to sleep tonight.
Gregory Porter, one of my all-time favorites. You certainly want to take a listen. On that musical note, we are just about out of time for this week's edition of Studio 5. So let's take a moment to look ahead and see what's on next week's rundown.
Where's my wife? I shifted her.
It's sci-fi, thriller, and romance from Angel Studios.
Imagine having the power to move people from one reality to the next, to shift them. What do you want with me?
It's a true genre mashup. It's what have we been calling it? A sci-fi thriller romance with a little bit of faith in it.
Is there a specific faith inspiration?
Sure, yes. I mean, it's inspired by the Book of Job.
From the Bible to the big screen, we're going inside the inspiration behind The Shift.
If I choose you, that's the last choice I'm ever gonna make.
We hope you'll join us for that story and so much more come next week. We've got time in this week for just one more thing. It is the final word. We want to give that to the man behind Migration, the creator of Illumination Entertainment, Chris.
I have always felt that life is about growth, and that if you can keep growing, no matter what else is happening in your life, that you're on the right path. And so I think the two greatest moments of personal development for me as an adult were surviving failure and understanding that failure was not something that, defined me, but was something that was part of my experience. And then also facing up to things that were really felt almost overwhelming in terms of intimidation, and saying, okay, I'm going to jump off the cliff, because I know that by jumping off the cliff, I'm going to confront what's holding me back.
Chris, thank you so much. That is a great final word for this edition of Studio 5 and for this week's look at uplifting entertainment. Until next time, make time to uplift somebody else, and then come on back and see where Studio 5 takes you next week. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.